Welcome to my Just Jenny podcast. With me is Michelle Cardel, PhD, MS, and registered dietitian. She's the head of clinical research and nutrition at WeightWatchers. Dr. Michelle Cardel is an obesity and nutrition scientist, and you've been researching this now for how many years?
17 years now.
Okay, so it's not yesterday. This is not new for you.
This is not a new thing.
In the past 2 days, there have been, so many conversations about WeightWatchers and WeightWatchers' decision to acquire Sequence, which is an online wellness platform that brings obesity medicine care to everyone in the 50 states, those who need it, those who want it.
Mm-hmm.
And from my perspective, as somebody who's been a WeightWatchers member forever and really a fan of kind of all the incarnations, like the fact that WeightWatchers has constantly, based on science, based in science, made changes and evolved as a program. I thought this was the most exciting turn of events because it was almost an understanding that in order to get a handle on obesity as a whole for people, that we have to be open to different modalities when they're needed. And that includes medication for some.
Absolutely. It's, as somebody who's been in this field for, like I said, 17 years now, I was so excited about this opportunity. And as science evolves, we're going to evolve with it. And the science is very clear that these pharmacotherapies are very beneficial for those individuals who medically qualify and for those who feel like it's right for them.
Yeah. And so part of the problem that we have in our society and in sort of the care and treatment and conversation surrounding obesity is all the stigmatizing and all sort of the negativity about anybody who either has obesity or loses weight having obesity, using a medication. They can even be given a hard time not using a medication. But I think this idea of WeightWatchers kind of adding into already what we know is a program that works, right?
Mm-hmm.
This extra something that will give people who need it, and I know medically qualify, and that's important to note, and we'll get into what that means.
Yep.
And also that you're not doing that. The company you acquired is a standalone, already in existence, incredible platform headed by Dr. Spencer Nadelsky, who's a friend of mine and been on the show a bunch, where this is what they do, is help people who struggle with obesity. But this idea that you're taking what you know already works and then giving it that something where people need it, to me, is going to help others who question the need or the validity, or is it okay to do kind of thing, less, because WeightWatchers is so respected.
Exactly.
And it's, right?
Yeah. And as you're talking about, people with obesity face so much stigma and discrimination.
Yeah.
And they're stigmatized for living in a larger body. And they're stigmatized if they want to lose weight. And they're stigmatized if they choose to take a medication. It's like, oh, you can lose weight, but not in that way. Or they're stigmatized if they choose that weight loss isn't the route they want to go.
Correct.
So they're put in this position where they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. And for us, this decision to move forward with Sequence aligns perfectly with our goal of providing sustainable and science-backed weight management for all folks seeking weight loss in an evidence-based manner.
And I was thinking about it. Part of the thing I think that people think is that, oh, you take an obesity medicine, one of these pharmacological, whatever, these GLP-1 agonists, these Ozempic type medication, that's a quick fix, an easy route, an easy way out. And and I'm like, everything I've read and anybody I know who's ventured on that journey, the best part about it is it gives them the ability to learn how to eat in a way that's going to benefit them long-term, to learn how to take care of themselves in a way they never could before, because that thing that was broken, that was making it unable for them to self-regulate amounts of food, is quieted a bit and fixed a bit so that they can then focus on things like nutrition and exercise. And so to me, like, it's almost ideal. They can be doing the Weight Watchers program and actually learning what a portion size is for their body and learning how to eat in a way that's nutritionally dense without it being as great a struggle as it's been prior to this possibility of using a medication. How cool is that?
I mean, it's exactly where we want to go. It's like the Weight Watchers piece can address the behavioral components. We can help you focus on the food and the activity and the sleep and the mindset. But for those who which this medication is medically appropriate, it can address those biological components, like what you're referring to, Jenny, that metabolic dysfunction that can, drive, excess calorie consumption, that can drive some of these components. And these medications reduce that chatter in the brain. And we're hearing from patients that for the first time in their life, that inner voice about food is quieted. And I've heard people say things along the lines of, oh, is this what it's like to live in a leaner body? Is this what the brain is like, the experience is like in folks living in smaller bodies? And these medications just help quiet that.
Yeah. And in no way is Weight Watchers saying that everybody needs them. So I want you to talk about this because I do follow the Weight Watchers feed on Instagram at Weight Watchers at WW. And you had put out a bunch of like, come ask us questions, tell us what you're thinking about. Let's see if we can address it. And one of the things that I saw someone asked was, are you saying that the program doesn't work unless you take medicine? So I want you to address this because I know the absurdity of that statement, but talk about this and how Weight Watchers is still the same Weight Watchers doing what it does best, teaching behavioral changes and shifts based in science.
Absolutely. So no one is going to be required to take medication as part of the program. So clinical interventions are not medically or otherwise appropriate for everyone. And our current program, we know it's the gold standard for behavioral weight management, and it's consistently been demonstrated to be effective for many people who want guidance, losing weight and keeping it off. So our behavioral weight management program is going to continue to serve as the core of what we do. Yep. But what this acquisition with Sequence is going to bring to the table, it's an opportunity to provide that behavioral support while the medications provide that biological support, but only for those who are interested and medically qualify.
Yeah. And I think that, again, to me, that goes exactly with sort of the ethos and core of Weight Watchers. Like I've always said, the coolest thing about it to me was that Weight Watchers, I could be a vegan and be on Weight Watchers. Yeah. I could be high carb and be on Weight Watchers. I could be low carb and be on Weight Watchers. I could eat only chicken and be on Weight Watchers. Like that Weight Watchers provided a place where I could almost like plug and play the who that I am, and they would give me back the way to make my food plan work for me to achieve whatever it is that I was looking to achieve with my body. And now you've just added one more tool in the toolkit where it's appropriate. And I think that's evolution. And I actually commend this company for saying, like, we are a commercial weight loss brand. People come to us because they know it works. And because we know it works, we're going to make sure it continues to work, that those who need this added something will be able to get it. I mean, that's amazing.
Exactly, Jenny. And, we've been here for 60 years. We are the most trusted weight management brand. And as a result, it's our responsibility to ensure that everything we're doing is rooted in science. It's our responsibility to myth bust and combat misinformation. And it's our responsibility to support every member's weight loss journey by providing access to the optimal tools. Yeah. And for some, that's going to include medication, and for others, it's not. And that's okay.
Yep. And that makes total sense. Not everybody takes blood pressure medicine.
Exactly.
right? I mean, or
But
cholesterol medicine.
exactly. And for those that do, they're certainly not being shamed for it.
No, and and the truth is there's no long-term sort of weight management or weight loss maintenance without proper nutrition
Mhm.
tailored for you and proper movement tailored for you. Like each person is an individual. And I think this is bringing a highly individualized care.
Exactly. And, this also brings, you know, about the fact that the FDA recommends that these FDA approved anti-obesity medications or weight loss medications are paired with a behavioral weight management program
That's right.
to optimize not just weight loss, but also health and wellness. There's no pill that's going to make you, eat healthier, move
No,
more,
no,
improve your mindset. And
no.
so the combination of a behavioral weight management program with a pharmacotherapy is where you're going to see those optimal results from a holistic health perspective, because we know it's not just about the weight loss.
So tell me how this will work, how a Weight Watchers member can effectively be screened to see if they are a proper candidate, if they want to be. And because in no way are you saying that everyone of a certain body size or BMI or any of those things has to venture on a weight loss medication journey. No, you're saying if it's something that you want to try, then we can give you a place where you can look into doing it to see if you're a proper candidate. So how does this work?
Yeah. So these FDA approved medications are not for everyone.
Yep.
The FDA states that in order to qualify for these medications, you have to have a BMI over 30
Mm-hmm.
or a BMI of 27 or above with a qualifying health condition. So
Mm-hmm.
high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, etc. And at the end of the day, if somebody's interested and medically qualifies, the decision to take a medication, any medication, is a very personal decision that is made between the patient and their healthcare provider.
Right.
Full stop.
And you provide that healthcare provider. I mean, that's the
Exactly.
point, is that
Yeah.
then we'll sign on once the program launches. Do you know when the program will launch?
I don't have details on
Okay.
exactly when it's going to launch, but Sequence is continuing to take patients. We're continuing to take members. How we're going to merge together is still in the works.
TBD.
Yep.
Okay. And so to explain a little bit about Sequence for people. And again, I just know this because Dr. Spencer Nadolsky was
Right.
just on the podcast.
It
Like
was
we just,
amazing.
and let me tell you something. He was on the podcast and he was so amazing that I texted one of my best friends and I said to her, you need to reach out to Dr. Spencer Nadolsky at Sequence. You need to find this doctor because I've talked to him for 2 years and he just told me about this program online and it's in your state and they take a flat fee and then it's covered by insurance and then it's this and it's this and you need to it's almost democratizing the ability to get
Exactly.
this medication that will really help you to this is one of my best friends and I know I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know. So I'm not going to claim that I know, but I know she needs the I know this will I know her and I know
Yeah.
her. I
Yeah.
know it'll help her. I know it.
Right.
And I was so excited to tell her. And then when this came out, literally like a week later, I was like my mind was blown, Michelle. I was
Right.
so excited. Like my jaw dropped because Weight Watchers really has done their due diligence. Like I know I sound like I'm fangirling, but knowing this company for as long as I have and having had sort of a relationship with you guys forever and not even, I mean, I get nothing out of it. I'm not paid. I have nothing. I just have always been a fan of what Weight Watchers does because you're really the only sort of well-known commercial weight loss, weight management platform that constantly shifts and checks in and has open dialogue about what works when it comes to weight management and what doesn't. And you guys pivot constantly and check in on the science and on the members. And even as recently as a couple of weeks ago, we had this dinner where your team was asking women how we felt about the nation's conversation about obesity medicines. And it was so cool to be a part of this dinner because obviously you guys this was already percolating in-house that we didn't know, but just this idea that you're still vetting through your consumer because we're the ones who live this life essentially. And even out of that conversation, I think one of the greatest concerns was that these medicines aren't available for everyone who might need them. And I know that you guys are going to make it so that they are. And
Exactly.
that's like amazing.
And that's absolutely the goal. We do scalable weight management,
Yeah.
better than anyone else. And then you combine Sequence, which is like powered by this like technology platform that then integrates like the patient and the clinician experience and provides members with this like ongoing comprehensive access to online clinical care, and then the medication management, and then you're bringing in
Yeah.
the Weight Watchers piece into it. I am so excited for the future, Jenny.
Also, there's like a privacy thing. And I think the
Mm,
fact that people will be able to do this from home and go to a lab and have their blood work done gives that added layer of, in a way, protection, because we are a society of meanies much of the time.
mhm.
And I don't think that anyone who suffers from obesity needs more people telling them why they're not good enough and why they're not doing the right thing by their body. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, why should anybody be marginalized or stigmatized or frowned upon because they're taking a medication to help them be able to figure out the right way to eat for their bodies, to quiet the excess noise? That should be, go do what you need to do. That should be almost applauded, because they're doing everything they can to be as healthy as they can in their bodies. But to make it have sort of be able to be done privately will protect them from people sort of making them feel bad. I love
Right.
that.
I know, me too. And knowing that, the providers at Sequence are trained healthcare providers. They provide empathetic, compassionate, and evidence-based care. It's not like going to, you know, um, a random healthcare provider where you don't know
You're
what
not
it's
going
going
to a
to be
Medi Spa.
like.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. You're
Oh,
going to trained health professionals
oh yeah.
that are obesity specialists, that this is what they do day in and day out. And they understand the physiology and they understand the needs of the patient, and are going to take a patient-centered approach to meet the patient where they are and provide the best in care.
And again, this is in no way saying that Weight Watchers is ineffective without
Right.
medication, because I think what you're saying is actually Weight Watchers is super effective for most of the people who do it. But for those who have that extra added bit of struggle, who qualify on a medical level, who are screened by medical professionals, it's giving them the tool that they might need to help them be able to achieve what they want using the Weight Watchers platform.
Exactly. Like this
Yeah.
is this is an opportunity to, you know, improve consumer outcomes with better education and access and care management and community and integration of this complementary lifestyle program for those who seek it. But at the end of the day, our program, our core program that has been consistently demonstrated to be effective, that's not changing
No.
for the members who want the Weight Watchers traditional experience to remain.
Mhm. What has it been like for you to be a part of this company in the past couple of years? When did you
I
start? When did
started
you
2
start it?
years ago. Today's
That's what
actually
I
my
thought.
2-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What has this been like for you to walk into this company that has been around for 60 years and kind of watch them go through this evolution and really grow in such, it's pretty profound. I mean, this is a
Mhm.
big deal.
This is a big deal. Yeah, I feel so honored to be a part of this as somebody who's, been a scientist for so long before
Yeah.
joining, Weight Watchers. I was a professor at the University of Florida College of Medicine. I'm still on faculty there. And to come into this organization that is so deeply rooted in science, everything we do is rooted in
Yeah.
science. And we have such a visionary CEO, Seema Sistani, leading us from this amazing technology forward, digital forward perspective. And then our chief science officer, Dr. Gary Foster,
Mm.
leading us from a science perspective. And it has been so energizing. I'm not going to lie, Jenny, when they announced it on Monday and was like official, I cried. Like
I bet you did.
we've been working towards this for almost a year now, and to see it coming to fruition was so gratifying and so exciting, because I know we're going to increase access to evidence-based care for people living with obesity. And that is, it's just such a privilege to be here, honestly.
I also think it's gonna take down some of the stigmatizing. I believe this. I think it's gonna take down some of the criticism surrounding these meds, unfounded criticism surrounding
Of
these
course.
meds, because I think your brand has such an identity and such a respected identity that I think people are going to look to Weight Watchers for clarification.
Mhm.
And I think you guys are going to bring it. And like, so when I saw this, I was so excited too, because I thought, I want anybody who can I want anybody and everybody to have access to the healthcare that they need in whatever modality.
Exactly.
And like, I'm a veteran dieter. I'm really, really good at dieting. I am. I'm great at it. But like, I love Weight Watchers because I can go in and I could check in on whether or not I'm actually eating the right portions when I want to
Mhm.
be tracking.
Mhm.
And when I don't want to be tracking, then I'm not tracking. Like, I never feel like I'm stepping into an area where there's judgment for any of my process or anything that I might go through. And the fact that you guys are adding in sort of this medical component, whether it's right for me or not, I'm just happy it's there because I know it's right for so many people.
Mhm.
And why shouldn't they have it? Like, it's because the medical field, unfortunately, there are doctors who are unkind to their patients out of ignorance because they don't really know this field of obesity medicine. But Weight Watchers does. And the fact that you've all sort of even gone deeper into this space, which you, because you're a scientist and because this is what you've done for 17 years, you've seen how there's been sort of shifts in understanding of the
Mhm.
mechanisms of obesity.
Yeah, we actually were in October, we were in London at a Royal Society of London meeting on the causes of obesity. And at this meeting, they brought in experts from all over the world. And we spent 3 days talking about, what causes obesity.
Yeah,
And there was not necessarily consensus at the meeting.
sure.
People had a lot. Obesity is a very complex and multifactorial
Yeah.
disease. But the one thing that all the scientists in the room could agree on is that obesity is not a reflection of willpower. It is not a reflection of one's character. It is a reflection of a variety of different things. It's taking into account your genetics and your physiology and how that interacts with the environment in which you live. And at Weight Watchers, we're here to support folks to navigate that, weight management journey, whatever that looks like, in a science-backed and sustainable way.
For people listening who have yet to go on the Weight Watcher site, who've never joined, who've never been a member, who've never actually seen how the point system works, can you briefly explain the program without the added potential of sequence
Mhm.
as sort of a starting point? Because I know they're not rolling out the sequence program yet, though I think
Mhm.
there's like a wait list people can
Yep.
sign up for now. But explain how Weight Watchers works just as is today.
Yeah, so we're a behavioral weight management program focused on 4 pillars, which is food, activity, sleep, and mindset. And
Mhm.
what we do in our program, we use points, and we use kind of the latest in nutritional science. We have an algorithm that determines a food's points, and that algorithm takes into account calories kind of form the baseline, but the points go up if a food is higher in saturated fat and added sugar, and the
Mhm.
points go down if a food is higher in protein, fiber, or unsaturated fats. So, what it does is it behaviorally nudges you towards an overall healthier dietary pattern. And my favorite part about the program is that we have over 200 0 point foods. And these are foods that you don't have to weigh, measure, or track. So, as a registered dietitian, this fills me with joy to see these foods, foods like non-starchy veggies and
Broccoli.
fruit, lean sources of protein,
Mhm.
whole grains. Um, you don't have to weigh, measure, or track those foods, and they don't count against your points budget. So it's an amazing program. we've published over 120 scientific peer-reviewed studies consistently demonstrating the effectiveness of the program. And
Yeah.
so,
And consistently, I think US News and World Reports rates Weight Watchers at the top of their list. I mean, like
yeah,
every year I
I
get
think
that list.
13 years were like the
Yeah.
best diet for weight loss.
Yeah. I mean, and it just like, that's also the fact that you're not sort of poo-pooing it and being like, we're not going to say it's weight loss or that
Yeah.
someone's looking for weight loss. Like, I'm so tired of that rhetoric of like, let's pretend
Right. Our
that
name
we're
is Weight
just
Watchers.
right. Like, we don't have to pretend. Like, this is
Yeah.
part, and thank goodness,
Yeah.
because many of us want that. Many of us
Right.
want a modality to help us feel as good as we can possibly feel. And
Mhm.
for many of us, that involves a weight management. I'm not great on my own. Not great
Mhm.
on my own. I want the help.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like a bad thing to want the help and to find the help in a reasonable, smart, like manner that says it's okay for me to
Right.
have a brownie.
And if anything, you should be commended for, consistently being so proactive
Yeah.
on your wellness journey, and
Yeah. Have to
whatever,
be. Yeah.
yeah, whatever that looks like for you, and can, like you said, it can involve a variety of different modalities and different tools in the toolkit. But
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to you for being so consistent
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
continuously trying to be the healthiest version of yourself.
Yeah, well, I think I just want to empower everybody else to like find, like, you get to find your way of doing it, and it's okay. There's no, no one's better than anybody else because of
Never.
how they achieve what they need to achieve with their bodies. I mean, it's like the most absurd thing that anybody would malign another person for their fight to feel okay. What made you get into sort of nutrition and weight and this whole
Mm.
wellness thing?
So I used to want to be a physician. I
Mhm.
did 3 medical mission trips and realized that probably wasn't going to be the path for me. And as an undergraduate, I had started as a hospice volunteer. And in that, which was such an incredible experience. I was a hospice volunteer for about a decade. And the
Incredible.
things that patients shared with me, you get this really privileged view as a hospice volunteer because you're there with people at the end of their life, and they share things with you that I think people don't normally tend to share. And a lot of patients shared things about their health and wellness journey and how they felt, you know, they they got to where they were in terms of their terminal illness.
Mhm.
And it was the first time in my life. I was like 19, I think, when I became a hospice volunteer. At that point in your life, you're not thinking about how do my choices today, how is that going to affect my quality of
No.
life, 50, 60, 70 years down the line. But
Mhm.
having that up close view and having these patients share these things with me, um, really spurred my interest in nutrition. I'll never forget, I had a patient tell me, um, I worry I killed myself with a fork.
Mm.
And at that point, I was like, this whole nutrition thing seems really interesting. And so I applied, to graduate programs. I'd never taken a nutrition class in my life when I started my master's in nutrition. I'd taken all the sciences, chemistry, biology, biochemistry, organic chemistry, physics, all those
All of it.
things.
Yeah.
But And then once I took my first nutrition class, I was hooked. Like, I was like, this is what I meant to do. This is where I want to be. And then I went on and did, my PhD in nutrition sciences, and then became a registered dietitian. And it's been a beautiful journey thus far.
And it's good that Weight Watchers has you helping them sort of lead this whole thing, because more science, the better. More science, the better.
Yes.
And that's, yeah, this is not based in some sort of woo woo, let's just do it because it's cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and Jen, you'll love it. Right now, we're doing a randomized control trial, which is like the gold standard for demonstrating effectiveness of a program. Um, and the whole randomized control trial is focused on nutrition and
Yeah.
the effects of Weight Watchers on nutrition and diet quality. So I'm sure you'll be super excited to see the results when they
Oh
come out.
yeah. I love this stuff. And
You
again, I
love to
think
geek out on all
I
this stuff.
do.
I
It's
love
my
that about you.
favorite because it's fascinating, because I too am curious how we got here.
Mhm.
Like, I too am curious why obesity is this chronic disease that afflicts so many people, And look, it's like every other disease, right? You got to figure out the why and then figure out how to manage it. And the more we look into it and the more modalities we can come up with to help people, the better off people are going to be. Like therapies and a multifactorial approach just makes sense, like with everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that Weight Watchers has made this decision and that Sequence was on board to sort of become a part of the Weight Watchers brand. I think it's pretty amazing. And I hope everybody looks into it, just because it's a very cool kind of development that you guys are doing this, and in a way brave too, as a company, to take this big leap, because it's a big leap. And I fully support it, obviously. That's why you're here. Because I think it's pretty, it's amazing. Michelle, can people follow you on social media?
Yes, please follow me on Instagram at Dr. Michelle Cardel, on TikTok at Dr. Michelle Cardel, and on Twitter at Michelle Cardel.
Okay, good. And then obviously follow WW across social media platforms. I'm at Just Jenny Hutt on Instagram. I'm at Jenny Hutt on TikTok and Twitter. Please share this episode with your friends. And if you have any questions or comments, you could email justjennypod@gmail.com. And I'll be back here per usual tomorrow. Thank you, Michelle. And I'm so happy Weight Watchers was cool with your being on to talk about this, because like it's a big deal. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, and check out
Jenny.
Join Sequence as well. If you want to know, it's at Join Sequence on social media, but the company's called Sequence if you want to know more about what they do. So thank you again.
Thank you.